many years ago. To live life away from it all, to have some sheep, maybe a cow or two, with cats and dogs and goats and an occasional moon. With our love for God, we can't go wrong. Our love can only continue to grow strong. Doesn't matter the difficult roads, it's true, for we have each other and love will carry us through. We came from another time, a time when dreams were bold, another time when values took hold. You couldn't give up hope, for it was always there. Another time we fared to do.
Say hi. Hi. Wait.
We came from another time, a time when dreams were bold, another time when values took hold. You couldn't give up hope, for it was always there. Another time we fared.
I'm glad.
Came from another time, a time when dreams were bold, another time when values took hold. You couldn't give up hope, for it was always there. Another time we fared.
Put Todd in the tent with me and the kids. And their feed. I'm at it again. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Can you guys hear me okay? Hi, Jennifer Ocean Homestead. I just want to make sure you can hear me. If you can hear me, hit a thumbs up button in the chat, please. Because I want to make sure it didn't switch it. Okay, great. Hi, Chrissy. We have lots of people in the chat right now. We have Simply Jan Homestead. Welcome. We have Demoose. Welcome. I saw Indiana Backyard Gardener. Welcome, Adrian. And Ariella. Welcome. Christine. Welcome. Peaceful Des. Welcome. And who else did I say? I said Jennifer Ocean Homestead. And Michael. Welcome in. Christy. Anne. Welcome. Mikey. Hi, Mikey. It's your grandma. I love you guys. Anyway, so tonight is going to be a little different. I didn't go live for the last couple of weeks. Last week I was going to, but my hubby needed some help doing some things, and we were trying to finish 3 months of work in 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. All that spring cleaning, all those spring cleaning projects that normally get done, we were trying to do in 2 weeks of the hottest part of summer that we've had. It was well over 100 at times. And at least in the feels like temperature, the humidity was extremely high. And so it was pretty miserable. But we all pitched in together, and thanks to Brad and Chastity and my hubby and myself, we got 2 weeks of full work done, and, yeah, it was something. Hi, Michael, I know it's your son. My son. Anyway, um, so normally those projects would have taken us all spring because they were our spring projects that you do after winter. And, like, touching up all the paint on the house, painting the decks, replacing any bad boards, touching up the fence, fixing the fence, whatever fence needed fixed, all those kind of things. So it was a little rough trying to get it all done in 2 weeks. And of course, my other projects go by the wayside when I'm have to do that. And that's why those projects also went by the wayside. But we couldn't do them in spring because there were so many storms, so much rain, the weather was bad, and I was working on other things as well, and so we just didn't get them done in spring. Anyway, I tonight tonight is different because it's just get down and personal with another time. Me. In another time, when I was in another time. Anyway, I thought about inviting a guest, and I may still send some links. Hi, Chastity. Uh, and I may just, if you want to come on with me, you can come on with me, and I'll send you a link, and you can come on up with me. But I wanted tonight to be in categories. So I'm going to break it down, and you can ask me any question you want. 99% of them I'll answer. Not all, not all of them. And the categories are going to be faith, family, fun, and um, views. Okay. Yeah, I'm opening myself up a little bit when I say views. Hi, Tammy. Welcome in. Welcome in. And then sometime during this live stream, I am going to be giving away $100 to one of you lucky viewers. So, how exciting is that? Yeah, I say that all the time. You can just know my videos because how exciting is that? Or how cool is that? So, somebody in the chat tell me where you want to start first. It has to be a question in one of those categories: faith, family, fun, or view. Okay? So, I don't know who wants to start, but I'll just tell you a little bit about my faith and how I came to be where I'm at in my walk with faith. Hi, Anna. That's what I'm going with, faith. Yes. I was raised in views, Jan, views. Like, what are my views on things? Yeah, that's a risky one, isn't it? Anyway, I was raised in a Mormon. My mother's family were all very strict Mormon. And my father's family, while I was being raised, were Nazarene and Assembly of God. So it was a big contrast. And we would go to my father's church sometimes. Not my mom. She never would, but us kids, we did have some fellowship in my father's churches, you know, like when my grandma had come or something, we'd do something. Um, so, but I can remember going, there's such a contrast between the Mormon church and the Nazarene church that it was difficult as a child. I mean, it was very, very, very difficult as a child. And in the Mormon faith, there's a lot of works for salvation. And in the Nazarene faith, it's not that at all. And it's grace, and faith. And so um and they have a lot of doctrinal differences as well. And so that sent me on a journey when I was very, very young to know the truth because I was so confused that by the time I was 16, I had read the entire Book of Mormon. I had read the Bible like 3 full times all the way through. And I had read L. Ron Hubbard's Dianetics, and I had read the Quran. So I really was reaching and wanting to know the truth because it was just stirring up inside of me. I mean, to this day, now where I'm at now, I know it was God. He was just calling me and he was guiding me and directing me. And I actually ended up getting baptized in the Mormon church, and I actually in was married in the Mormon temple when I was married to Kevin and Michael's father. Kevin is my son that passed away, and yeah, so I know all about that. And when I went to yeah, exactly, yeah, exactly. I'll tell you, I'm not afraid to say that God pulled me out of confusion. He really did. He pulled me out of confusion, and he set me on a path that led me to where I am now. Faith is very important for me. In fact, I'll just tell you how much I rely on God. Okay. Now I don't do everything perfect. Trust me, I don't. I don't, I'll skip prayers sometimes. I feel so guilty about it. But and I just feel like I don't talk to enough people to tell them about what I believe the truth is. And I tell everybody I can. I just have sheep though. And I don't see a lot of people. But I was very excited when I discovered, now you're going to laugh about this one, Joyce Myers. Okay. And I watched her all the time. And now I look back at Joyce Meyer and I realized that was just a little baby food that God was giving me stuff to glean from. And he used people that I totally disagree with now to allow me to glean what he wanted me to glean from that. And it really helped to shape me. Like I said, today I went out this morning and a couple of years ago I could roll a 330-foot roll of fence and manage it by myself. But today I can't do that because in a couple of years, aging has made it so that I just can't lift it and I can barely move it. And so I came inside. I realized that this morning because I was going to have to put that woven wire fence up on my fence so I can get my puppy out there and Lucy Lou. And so I went and I tried to move it. I tried to move it and um, couldn't. And so I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm just gonna go have to pray." I mean, literally, that's what I said. And I came inside and I prayed and I just said, "Please, I need you to send help. You've got to help me, whether it be an angel or a person. I don't care. I need help." And do you know, I oh, Jan, you didn't have to do that. That was awesome of you, but you did not have to do that. You are so awesome. I love you. And I went out there and was able to move it. I got most of the fence up today, and I couldn't have done that without the help of God. And I'm just going to tell you that. And that's how my faith is every day. Okay. I have to rely on Him to help me with these things because it just doesn't help me trying to do things on my own. And He wants us to be that reliant on Him. He really does. So, that being said, um, am I early? Yeah, I'm early. Oh, thank you, Ariella. Yeah, I'm early tonight. I decided to go at 7 instead of 8. I know I'm jumping all over the place. But I have some questions here, and I want to go through these questions, okay? Where did I see? Ariella said, I bet that was confusing. It was very, very confusing. And growing up. And yeah, if you guys ever want me to do something, talk about the Mormon faith, um, I feel like at this point in my life, I have two master's degrees, and both of them are one is in theological studies, and one of them is in a master's of divinity in chaplaincy. And so I've studied various religions, various cults extensively, and so I can talk about the differences. Um, and I don't know if any of my family out there that are Mormon are watching. If there's any Mormons in the chat here tonight. I don't want to step on any toes, but I'm telling you, God loves us, and He just wants us to follow Him the way He says to follow Him in the Word of God. So that's what I'll say about that. Okay? It is a hard issue. It's really a hard issue. Hi, Brad. How are you? Welcome in. Welcome in. So, Michael or Mikey wanted to know what was it like raising. We're on the family subject now. What was it like raising all of his uncles? So I had 4 boys, all less. They were all about a year and a half apart. And Brad, he's in the audience. He was super, super, super hyperactive, and he had ADHD. They wanted to put him on medication. Um, he just was a handful, weren't you, Brad? Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, he was a handful. And so it was a real challenge having all those boys together. And we we had fun though. We had fun. I was a young mom. I'd had 6 pregnancies by the time I was 23 years old. And I loved my kids. I mean, I just loved my kids. I still love my kids and my grandkids. And it, it was just a lot of fun. There were different challenges with each one of them. I had one that liked to do sports, and Brad, he liked trumpet and art. And Michael, he liked girls. Kevin, he did art as well. He was an artist as well. And so there was just a lot of variety in our house. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. And for those of you that have watched me before, you know they have all kinds of stories. Yeah. Hi, Gail. Yeah. It's Tamara said that she's Presbyterian Catholic and she can't sleep without saying the Lord's Prayer and Hail Mary at the end of nightly prayer. I mean, you just get some of these things so ingrained in you that from being raised, in 2 different religions, that it is difficult. So, any other questions? Well, I'll just continue on the faith one. So, and then we'll move on to family. Um, oh, well, thank you, son. You didn't have to do that. He has girls and one son, so he says girls are awesome. Anyway, so I went I formally left the Mormon church in my early 20s and just was looking for the truth, and I finally found the truth in this little teeny tiny church. And I'll just share my testimony with you. I went there. I was the director of um, it was a volunteer clinic, and so me and one of the board members, I Reese's in here. Me and one of the board members went to this little church to tell them about our program on a Sunday. And when I walked in, it was as if Jesus just sat down and held my hand and he just drug me up to the altar, just like that. I mean, he could have just been sitting here holding my hand. I have no doubt in my mind whatsoever. So, my faith is really strong and it's really important to me, but I'm not one to go push you know, I taught my kids, if they don't want to follow it, it's up to them. It's between them and God. So anyway, and so then after that, I went. Yeah, I ran to the altar too, Jan. Yeah. Reese said hi, Jan. Anyway, I went to Liberty University for my education, and I was a preacher as well at a Baptist church here in Kentucky. And I'd preach probably once a month. And when I was totally into spreading the word, then, I mean, I really, really was. And I was also the chaplain for Volunteers of America for 5 different states. And so when I saw changes happening as I was a chaplain at that organization, and they weren't biblical changes. And so I was asked to leave after a couple of years because I wasn't going to bend the knee to something I didn't believe in. And I got my ordination through them. So I am an ordained minister, and I got my ordination through Volunteers of America. And I also, and then I did my schooling while I was doing that as well and working. And we left the church, the Baptist church, as a family when my daughter-in-law, I think she was with me, and we were sitting in a monthly or a semi-annual meeting. It was a business meeting, and they were arguing about taking out a loan for the church for $1 million, over $1 million. And this church sits in the middle of poverty. And they were arguing about taking out $1 million loan to make improvements, and not for structural stuff that, like roofs and things like that may have needed to be done, but it was for beautification. And I struggled with that. I really struggled with that. And when I started seeing almost pastors being put in godlike positions and idolized and different things. We really struggled with that. So we left the church. We started a home church, and we started reading the Bible from start to finish as if we'd never read it before, ever, and that nobody had taught it to us. And I'll tell you what, yeah, it was greed and self-glorification. It was really bad. And so when we did that and we started, because there's a verse in the Bible that says that you don't need a teacher because the Holy Spirit is going to teach it to you if you allow that. Hi, Lele. That's my little great granddaughter, Lele. Anyway, um, and so we started reading the Bible in that manner, and it changed everything. And so all those little bits and pieces all led to this point where I am in my life today. So that's my faith. I stick to it. Um, we're non-denominational. We worship on the Sabbath. We don't celebrate Christmas. Not that I'm not saying that's a bad thing. We just chose not to. Um, and you got to do your own research. You've got to find your own way, your own path. So, yeah, yeah. I is Lele not Lele? Anyway, but that's my faith, my story of faith. And so now I'm going to talk about family. And there's a story I want to tell you that is a lot about faith and family, because many of you know that I have experienced, I lost a child, I lost a daughter. Um, she died shortly after she was born. She was born with anencephaly. Her name was Melissa Lene, and she would have been a year older than Michael, or a year and a half older than Michael, somewhere around there. And she, when I was pregnant with her, I'd have all these strange dreams, you know, and there was just all this stuff that just led me to know that something wasn't going to be right. I carried her full term. She moved like any other baby. All the blood tests, everything was perfect, just like any other baby. Um, and I kept trying to find her head and feel for her head and all of that, and would have difficult time. But she'd kick and move, so I just thought she had her head tucked down underneath. Well, I had to have her C-section because I was having babies C-section. I had so many right away, early on. I had to have C-section. And so they had me scheduled for an ultrasound, and the day before I was supposed to give birth. So they took me into the hospital and did this ultrasound. And I knew before they even did it, I knew something was wrong, because I think God was just preparing me for that. But I knew something was wrong. And they did the ultrasound and they could not find her skull. They couldn't find her head. And so they didn't even keep me on the labor and delivery floor. They took me to the surgical floor and did the C-section and tried to deal with me that way, which was, which was not probably not a good idea. But as far as my faith, and I'm going to tell you, I kept sewing these baby clothes. I made baby clothes for all my children, and I had sewn and crocheted these little sweater sets, and I had made all the baby clothes. And every time I sit down to make a, a little outfit for this baby, it was like somebody was standing over me telling me, "You don't need to do that. Stop doing it. You don't need to do it." And sometimes that voice would get so loud that it was like somebody was standing right behind me. Like I can feel the breath on my neck. And then the day that I went to pack the bags to go to have the ultrasound to the hospital, and I started to pack, I packed my clothes and then I went to put the baby clothes in. And it was just like somebody grabbed my foot out from underneath me and I fell backwards. The baby clothes went everywhere. And I heard that voice again saying, "You don't need to do that." So I never packed the baby clothes. That's how God has worked in my life. And I'm just sharing this with you because, I don't want to offend anybody and I hope I'm not offending anybody, but I want you to know about me. I want you to know who I am. And so that after having her and losing her, um, I don't know if you know what anencephaly is. It's part of her skull was missing, with part of her brain missing, and um, so she didn't live very long. And she just, it crushed me. I mean, it crushed me. But let me tell you what happened. That became my measuring point in life up until my son Kevin passed away. It was my measuring point in life for all those years. I could say, well, this isn't that bad. It didn't feel like when Melissa passed away, so I can get over it. So I always felt like God took something bad and made it into something good. And he made me stronger that way. He really did. He made me stronger by doing that. And because then I was able to handle almost anything that was thrown at me. And I had a lot of stuff thrown at me. Um, yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's a track. In fact, it's just the opposite, Christine, of spina bifida. Yeah, it's in that. Spina bifida is, that's what the doctor told me. And yeah, you know, I relish. I mean, I cling to these experiences that I've had with God, Adrian. I mean, I totally do because he's always been right there working in my life, walking me through things that seem really, really impossible to get through, and he's brought me through them. And I'm not bitter and I'm not angry. I get a little sad now and then if I think about him too much. But I also just think how glorious and wonderful he is and what he's done for me. And so, and like I said, up until Kevin passed away, I was able to measure everything to her death. And then when Kevin passed away, um, yeah, it crushed me. But what I haven't shared with a lot of people is I was doing terrible. I mean, I was like, and I woke up one day and I said, "I can't stand feeling like this, God. You've got to do something to take it away. You have to." And, that's when he said I needed to build a cabin in the cave. And I was like, so I started building a cabin in the cave. And the cabin in the cave was definitely a labor of love because my son loved it down there so much. He used to take Mikey and Reese down there, and he would play make believe with Mikey, and they'd take pictures and see weird things. Maybe Sheep Squatch was down there then when they'd see him. I don't know. you know, and but it was such an intense, and I noticed as I went through that whole process week after week after week, crying and healing, and I mean it just changed it all. So what I don't have that need to go down there anymore because it's so strange. It's just left took it all. He took it all, and I just love him for that. And so But Kevin, I wish you guys could have met Kevin. He was such an incredible young man. He just really was. He was had a heart of gold, and he just loved everybody, and he loved God. So, yeah. Okay, so I've touched on family and friends, or family and faith. So when did I meet Richard? I met Richard. We met we will be married 25 years in uh, October. 24 years in October. We've been together 25. So I'm taking that other year too. Anyway, but uh, I had just gone through and a divorce, you know, because we all kind of get in the way of who God wants us to be with, and we think we know better. So I got in the way, and then got out of this nasty divorce. And we actually met on a Christian dating site. and, and our first date was going to church at his uh, 80-year-old auntie's church in Louisville. And then he took me out, walked me around the river, the Ohio River. And then we went and had fish. And yeah, and that was it. From then on, we've been together ever since. He's an incredible man, and he's definitely an introvert. He works at it, because he struggles with coming outside of himself at times, but he is just an incredible man. And when you get to know him, you'll just fall in love with him. He's awesome. So, what else? Well, congratulations, Jan. That's awesome. I know we have the same anniversaries too. Same birthday month, same anniversary month. Isn't that funny? We're twins. My best friend's first child was born with anencephaly. Perfectly formed, no brain. Yeah. Yeah. It's it's a sad, sad situation because sometimes they do know if they're doing ultrasounds. Back in my day, they just didn't do that. So. At what point in the faith story did you guys meet? I was actually, um, I had just become a believer. I mean, I had only been saved for about, probably 6 months or so, 6, 7 months, something like that. And what really, really changed me is Brad and we were in Winn-Dixie one night. And it was on New Year's Eve, and we were going to get stuff as everybody else was for New Year's Eve. And we had a cart full of stuff, and we were standing in line waiting I mean, the lines were packed. And so there was like at least 4, 5, sometimes 6 people in line with carts just full of stuff. And we were like way back. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, this woman, she standing in second in line. She was going to be next up to get checked out. She had a whole cart full of stuff. And she got out of line and she walked straight over, hi, Lori, to Brad and I. And she said, God told me to prophesy over you. And I, at that time, I was new to a lot of that. I knew, of course, I knew the Bible inside and out, but I was new to a lot of that. So, and so they don't really prophesy over you unless you're getting a whatever that blessing's called in the Mormon church. So, and she walked over to me and she told me that God told her to prophesy over me and that he had something really great for me to do. And I don't know what that is. I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, I'm just like, but it set me on that path trying to find out. To this day, maybe I've done it. I don't know. But maybe I haven't. Maybe I had to do this tonight to let how I believe and how I think. And who knows? I don't know. You just never know what God's plan or timing is. And so, I after that, things just started changing. And I mean, they were changing rapidly in my faith. And then Volunteers of America approached me and asked me, if I would be interested in their. I was working at Volunteers of America as a clinical coordinator for drug and alcohol programs. I ended up being promoted as the program manager. First, I was a counselor, and then I was a clinical coordinator, and then I was a program manager, and ended up being the director over 5 programs. And then they asked me if I would be interested in their minister program and becoming an ordained minister, which is a 2-year process. And so, and they actually, once I became ordained in oh, I don't remember, it was Pittsburgh. It might have been. It was at one of the big churches. It was someplace up north. I think it was Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Um, and then, I continued to work on my degree. But yeah, that's where I was in my faith. I was at 8, but I decided to change it to 7 because I think this time period fits people better. And then they're not staying up till really late, with the gap in between Gail and Heather. And yeah, so I'm going to keep it at 7. I think it's going to be better at 7 for y'all. I hope so. He is humble. He is a humble man. My husband is a humble man. I will say that. So let's take another question and then we'll, we've done family, we've done faith. What do I do for fun? Anybody guess what I like to do for fun? Put it in the chat if you think you know. Come on. Work. I don't and work some more. But gardening, no, gardening's really not my. I garden because I think you should build homesteads randomly. Yeah, your projects. I do like to do my building. I think that's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work. Hi, Penny. How are you? It's a lot of fun, but it is a lot of work. Um, Fun wise, I love to tell jokes. Some of you might know that. I do like to build things. I'm a sheriff. Yeah, and I'm a sheriff. Um, I love I love mystery movies, and I'm talking about the Hallmark mystery movies, or the British mystery shows like A Midsummer Murders or the Australian ones. I love those kind of mystery crime dramas that they have. Uh, More Scooby Dooish type and chaos coordinator. I I like to fish. I like to go hunting, but I'm at a point in my life where if I am not going to need the meat, then I don't want to kill an animal. Hi, Kevin. How are you? Yeah, I love Sherlock Holmes, Kevin. I don't want to kill an animal just to kill an animal. I, my heart's not like that. So, but I do like hunting. I've gone hunting with Christy, my daughter-in-law. We've hunted on a couple of different occasions. I've gone hunting by myself, sitting out in a blind out on the back of our property. How I would ever have gotten anything up the hill, I have no idea. Probably would have had to. I don't know. I don't know. I always wondered about that. Um, but I like to fish. I used to love to camp, but now I can't camp as enjoyable anymore because the bed, I have to. I turned into the princess and the pea, so I'm not. Beds. Yeah, I don't mind cooking outdoors. I love the camping aspect though because I can make a meal out of anything, and I love that part of it. Um, Fires, sitting around the fires. Bugs don't bother me. You know, Snakes are starting to bother me a lot. Um, I just keep running into them this year. It's just not been a fun year for snakes, and I don't, after losing our Louie to a snake bite, I just oh no, can't do it. I don't like snakes anymore. I wish they would just all stay away. But occasionally, I used to paint. Believe it or not, I have two artist sons. But I used to paint. I used to do a lot of watercolor painting in my younger years. I used to play the piano and I used to play drums. And I do have a drum set over in the shop. Every once in a while, I go brush the dust off and rock out a little bit. Hi, Stephen. How are you? I used to do a lot of things that I don't do anymore. Um, but I like my new e-bike. I ride it up to get the mail. I have a hard time getting on and off of it sometimes, but I think Jennifer, I think you hit the nail on its head. She said, "My guess is YouTube." I love doing YouTube and I love editing. I love doing YouTube if I'm not having to work and hate and film at the same time. But I do love doing it's a lot of fun, and I love you guys. I mean, that's what makes it so much fun is you guys. So, okay. What she taught me piano. You're so cute, Reese. I love you. Anyway, um, let's do we did fun, family, and faith. So view. Okay. You can all ask me a view question. What's my view on something? Okay. Okay, Adrian, I will. Favorite meal. My favorite meal? Honestly, my favorite meal is Mexican food. All 100% Mexican food. Okay. I love pickled jalapenos. I could eat a whole can of them, but they are terrible on my stomach, and nobody wants to be around me if I eat one. And, but I love Mexican food. Yeah, authentic Mexican food. Homemade tortillas, homemade rice, homemade beans. Yeah, the chile con carne. I love Mexican food. My favorite kind of music. I My favorite kind of music is either blues. I love blues. Probably no shock. And I love a good country western. Those are my favorite. Now I played lots of classical before, playing piano and playing drums. I played in the University of Washington Symphony and played percussion in that. So I played the timpani and different percussion instruments when I was going to University of Washington. So. Favorite dog? Oh, Reese. It's hard to say because I see each of them. Lucy Lou is just so special. She is there's not another dog like her on this planet. And Aslan, he just has his funny quirks. I like the old country. I like some new country though. He has his funny quirks. And the puppy, he's totally cute and I love him. He's sweet all day long, and at nighttime, he's like a toddler, and he turns into just a wild little pup. And then, and Sage she's got something special about her too. So it's hard to say. Raising sheep. Oh, YouTube channels you watch the most besides your own. Okay, I probably watch building channels more than anything because and I'm talking woodworking projects, woodworking channels like um, the bearded. I don't know their names. I just have them subscribed, and I love watching how they make different projects to see if I could do that. So and then of course, my friends, try to watch, try to watch some of everybody's channel. I can't always comment because most of the time I'm watching on TV, and so that makes it rough. But you'll always see a like. I always put a like on there. Anyway, what do you think of hoof boots? Hoof boots? Would you wear them? Oh, heck no. I mean, are they made the ones made out of hoofs? If they're made out of hoofs, I'm not going to wear them. Do you have any clothes or shoes that people may give you a weird look if you wear them in public? Like the new thing people are wearing boots. Yeah. No, I don't I'm very conservative. Okay. I'm very conservative. I What you see is what you see. Period. That's it. You see me on my videos, Sometimes I have makeup on, sometimes my hair's combed, sometimes it's not, sometimes I've been in my pajamas. This is, I'm just me, and I'm not gonna wear all that goofy stuff. So, what's your favorite way to have lamb cooked? I'll tell you what, there's 2 parts of the lamb that I love the most. One are the ribs. I love lamb ribs, and if you if how I prepare them is I marinate them overnight in lemon. Make sure I cut most of the fat off, but marinate them overnight in lemon, and then I do a rub that's got some ginger and a little bit of sweet basil in it, a little bit of mint, and some hot sauce. So, you know, garlic, garlic salt, and then I grill them up. And I love lamb ribs. And then the other is I like the little lamb chops because they're just so tasty. They're small, but lamb chops fried up, they're so good. Oh, they're good. What's the painting behind your monitor? That painting right there? I don't know. I found it at the thrift store. I mean, literally, I found it. It's a painting, and I found it at the thrift store or Peddler's Mall, and paid I think $12 for it. Came home and looked it up, and it was worth 300 and some dollars. So there you go. I mean, then there's the frame. Yeah, I love tagine. I love tagine on everything. Yeah, it's so good. It's so good on fresh cucumbers. On and avocado and guacamole and rice. It's just good. I love it. My top 10 movies. I would say my top 10 movies, believe it or not, are probably I watched all of the DC comic movies. I watched all of what's the other one, Mikey, that I watched? Which one's Green Lantern? I watched all of Green Lantern, and yeah. The weirdest hairstyle, probably when I had my hair like poofed up, big hair. Yeah. My favorite show is probably Midsummer Murders. I love that series. But it is at 58. Take the paper off the back. You might be rich. You never know. Yeah, I mean it actually is. I looked it up. It was sold from a it was actually sold from a there's a sticker on the back, and it's from an art museum, and I looked it up at that art museum and found that out. It was 300 and some dollars at the time. My favorite animal? I don't know, because I fall in love with them all so easy. I mean, I probably my dogs, but if it's a the new puppy is oh, Scout, he's a trip. He wakes me up in the morning. He's cute. Ornery at night, but Reese, I'll call you and show you Scout because I'm going to do the giveaway now. We're at 59 minutes and 38 seconds. So we're going to go ahead and do the giveaway because I've been waiting all week for you guys to come in so I could do this and give you an opportunity to win $100. So that's what the giveaway is tonight. I hope whoever wins it is happy with it. And yeah. So anyway, I am going to share my screen And the hashtag is going to be getting personal. So type in getting personal, hashtag getting personal. Make sure you type it in that way. And maybe after we give this away, then I'll go get Scout and show everybody Scout, okay? I'll bring Scout in here and lift him up. But he's a big boy already. He's grown a lot. So hashtag getting personal. Make sure you type it in. We have 8 entries. We have 22 people in here. So there should be 22. I can't imagine that not everybody doesn't want Hi Brook Trout, welcome in. Getting personal. We have 18. 19. Somebody's missing. 20. Hi hat with that. 21. Okay, I'm going to wait. I'm going to count from 10. Are you excited? Are you nervous? Okay, here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. 21 entries. Heather won. Congratulations, Heather. Congratulations. Awesome. You guys, I am so thankful that you came in today and spent the time with me to get to know me. I hope that you learned something about me. Don't think I'm too weird to watch my videos now. I hope you'll still watch my videos. Anyway, I thank you all, and I really do appreciate you all for coming in. Thank you, and I am going to end it here. Bye. Oh, wait. I promise to go get. Hold on. I'll be right back. Puppy time. Okay, here's the puppy. See, look. Yeah. He's a sweetie. He's a sweetie. It's gonna be huge though. Yeah. Anyway, that's all I have for you tonight. And I will close you out with a song.
We had a dream many years ago to live life away from it all, to have some sheep, maybe a cow or two, with cats and dogs and goats and an occasional moon. With our love for God, we can't go wrong. Our love can only continue to grow strong. Doesn't matter the difficult roads, it's true. For we have each other, and love will carry us through. We came from another time, a time when dreams were bold, another time when values took hold. You couldn't give up hope, for it was always there. Another time we fared to do.
Say hi. Hi. Wait.
We came from another time, a time when dreams were bold, another time when values took hold. You couldn't give up hope, for it was always there. Another time we fared.
I'm glad.
Came from another time, a time when dreams were bold, another time when values took hold. You couldn't give up hope, for it was always there. Another time we fared.
Took the time in the tent with me and the kids. And the feed. I'm at it again.